Okay, so today we're going to be looking over the top 5 things that I wish I knew when I first started my KDP business. So you're going to want to stick around for this. Now, if you haven't been in before, my name is Rory and I run this channel called Mr. Rosa. And before we get into anything, can I ask you guys to smash that like and subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated and doesn't take you half a second to do. Now, there is a lot of great tips out there on KDP. There's a lot of great resources out there on YouTube, but these top 5 things are things that I felt that I wish I knew when I first started out, and hopefully, well, this could help you guys out in some way possible, and obviously leave a comment below if it did help you out in any way. But let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into it. So the first one, and this is a big one, and that is copying books won't make you sales. Now, this is important because, well, there's a lot of great books out there on KDP. You look at, there's a lot of great colouring books out there, there's a lot of great learning books, and it can be easy to think, well, they've done well, and I think I can create something like that. I can create something exactly the same as that, so surely that means I'm going to make any sales. Well, you're wrong if you think that. I mean, obviously you can take ideas from a book, you can take colours, you get ideas for graphics, that sort of thing. But trust me, copying a book, like word for word, cover exactly the same, interior exactly the same, it just won't make you sales. And the reason for this is because, well, if you think about it, so let's say we've got a colouring book up, and it's a very nice colouring book, it's one that's selling very well. And you look at it and you think, well, I'm going to create exactly the same book as that, because surely it means I'm going to make sales, because, well, this book's making sales, I can make sales too, and it'll be high quality. Well, just think about it, because you can see Amazon will have 2 of these books, 2 books that are exactly the same, and one that's been established on Amazon and is selling a lot of books and making a lot of money for Amazon, and another one that's just come in, exactly the same, not made any sales yet, brand new, and that sort of thing. Well, why would Amazon then risk putting your book, selling your book, pushing it up the market, when there's already a book that's already making them a lot of money per month? Why would they then invest money into that one that's exactly the same of it? Of course they would stick with the top one. They would stick with the one that's making them a lot of money, because there's no reason for them to change it. And that is a big reason why copying books will not make you sales, because maybe you make a couple of sales, but to be at the very top, it's never going to get you anywhere. And also you can come into the issue of copyright and trademark, which I did make a video on in my recent video, which I'll leave a link to above, of course. And, well, I talk about copying stuff and taking brands and that sort of thing. And if you're copying a book, the chances of copyright or trademark issues coming into account is highly unlikely. However, if you're copying a book that's a high established brand, it's been on the market for a while, well, maybe they've taken trademark claims, they've trademarked their logo, their brand, that sort of thing. And, well, if you start copying it, you could come into issues. And that's why I always say I wouldn't start copying stuff off Google Images and that sort of thing, because, again, there is issues when it comes to copyright and trademark and that sort of thing. So that's the number 1 tip that I would give you, and this isn't in order at all. This is just 5 things that I think would help you. And, well, the second one is putting time into quality over quantity. Now, creating a lot of books with the low content book business is always something that I would recommend, but if you're looking to get into a niche such as colouring books, learning books, even stuff like log books, that sort of thing, well, putting time into quality, making that book so much nicer over just creating a rubbish cover, a rubbish interior, that sort of thing, well, I can tell you now, it just won't make sales, because it will just look awful. It won't look nice. And the thing is, when you create a quality interior, say, a quality logbook interior, well, you can then use that logbook interior again. But I would always say quality over quantity. It's something that I'd recommend. And if we have a look at a couple of books here, well, you've got this adult colouring book here, Stress Relieving Designs, Animals, Mandalas, Flowers. And we can have a look inside. I mean, this has designs, unique designs this artist will have made themselves, and, well, we can have a look at the BSR, and it has a BSR down here of 127, which is making thousands a month. And again, with a learning book, unique designs, you don't see anything similar to this on the market. This author will have made these interiors themselves. I'm pretty sure I've got an artist to do it for them, but they're unique, that's the important thing, and they've spent time creating this interior and this cover, making it look as nice as possible. And I do say about Creative Fabrica, buying interiors and that sort of thing off there are a great idea, and they do sell. I talk about how they always do sell. But if you wanted to get to like the 127s, well, you could do it like interpreting your own designs and Creative Fabrica, but like I said, this author will have created them themselves, so that means nobody else on the market can use them, because I'm sure they will have trademarked that interior, because if you start copying interiors, pasting interiors, that could lead to issues as well. So that's the second tip I've got for you today, and it's a really important one. I would definitely say quality over quantity, especially when it comes to colouring books, like I said, is a better idea. Maybe not so with lined interiors, maybe just getting a lot of books out and that sort of thing. But yeah, in general, I'd say quality over quantity. And the third one I have today is, when you create books, create what sells, not what you like. And basically, what I mean by this is, well, you may have this thought for a niche that could sell well, and you've thought of some creative designs and that sort of thing, but when you look on the market, there's nobody buying these books. But you've got this amazing idea and you think, oh, you could be this top-selling bestseller. But if there's no one creating books in this niche and nobody's searching for books in this niche, it just means you're not going to make any sales, because there's no way for your book to rank. Like if it's a French poetry colouring book, that sort of thing. Well, you may come up with ideas for colouring interiors and that sort of thing, but there's nobody going to be searching for that, most likely. So the chance of you making a lot of sales is highly unlikely. You want to look, this is the whole thing of doing research, you want to look what sells, you want to look what makes money, and then interpret your own designs and that sort of thing into that, adding your own uniqueness into that. And that's a really big one, because I made that mistake at start. I thought of many different designs. I thought, oh, that's such a good idea, that will sell really well. But you upload the book and it makes no sales, and you think, why? Well, it is because nobody's searching for it, because nobody's wanting books like that. Nobody's searching for it on Amazon. So let's move on to the next one. And the fourth one is creating more than one book in a particular niche. And this was a big one I made a mistake of when I started out. And that was, well, I'd find this niche and it would meet all the criteria, it'd meet the 1,000 results, it would be making sales, 3 books with under 300,000 BSR or less, that sort of thing. And they create one book and it doesn't make any sales. And it's just really disheartening. You can think, well, it's really disheartening. But then after some time, you got into different niches, and then you started to realise, well, it's not always your first book design that will sell. You can create covers that people may not like. You may like it, people may not like. That's what also comes into account with creating what sells, not what you like personally. So you've got to create a couple of different designs in your book, creating them with different colours, creating them with different fonts, different graphics, that sort of thing. And then when you find one that sells, well, creating similar books to that. And this was actually the idea that I followed, and then I did a bunch of different designs. I found one that sell. It was actually a quote I got off Pinterest, and then I sold one book, and then I made another in a similar design to that. I sold it again, and then I made 100, 110 or whatever books in this particular niche with this particular design. And also it creates like this sort of branding. If you start creating the design, it's making sales, people can come back, buy your other books and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely when you start out in a niche and it's one that looks like it has potential, don't just quit after you put up one book and it doesn't sell. You need to experiment and that sort of thing. And then this leads on to the final one I have today, which is to do your research on a niche before quitting. And that also leads to then experimenting with different titles, different subtitles, keyword boxes, description, and also about the cover and the interior. Experimenting with different things, seeing if there's ones that make sales, and then going forth with that, creating more books like that. But just don't be disheartened if you don't make sales. It happens to everyone. When they start out, you don't make sales straight from your first book. If you do, very well done to you. I definitely didn't do that. I know a lot of people with KDP, they didn't do that. But this is a tough business. I will admit it's a tough business because it can get really disheartening when you don't make any sales. But once you do make that sale and you find a design that works, well, the sales will just come rolling in. Sales rolling in, that means more money rolling in and that sort of thing. So make sure you do your research, experiment with different keywords using Helium 10, BookBolt, even just using Amazon itself for different keyword research. doing all of that stuff before you quit on a particular niche, because you don't want to miss that wasted opportunity where you could be making a lot of money in it. And eventually, over time, you'll find out what works, you'll understand the business and that sort of thing. It's more just at the beginning, just training your mind not to quit, just telling yourself not to quit after you make those designs and that sort of thing. And that is a vital one. So that is it for today, and well, I hope you guys got something from us. And those are my top 5 things that I made a mistake of, and well, I wanted to tell you guys to help you guys improve and not make the same mistake as I did. And like I said, biggest one, do not quit. Just don't quit. Persevere with this. It may be hard at times, but eventually you'll find something that will work. Same with everything. With YouTube. When I started out YouTube, I was creating videos. You look back at my videos at the beginning of this year when I started on this grind and I told myself this is something that I want to do. I was making art videos and that sort of thing. And well, I was close to quitting. I was close to just stopping YouTube altogether. But my dad, if you guys know him, Paul Miles, he told me to push through it, and I did. But that's for another story. That's one I have planned, a special one planned for when I talk about my YouTube journey. But anyway, hope you guys found that useful, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated. It doesn't take you half a second to do. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Love reading and replying to every single one of your comments. And if there's any tips you have for anyone on this channel, make sure you leave them down in the comments below, because I'm sure they would be very grateful for it. But until next time, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.